And Bain and Company has today taken out an ad space in local newspapers to apologize for the shoddy work they did at the South African Revenue Service. Bain South Africa managing partner Stephen York says the consultancy firm wants to improve its standing in the community. The advertisement and apology comes a week after the UK banned the firm from doing business with government for 3 years. Defend Our Democracy has joined mounting calls for the South African government to also put a ban on the company. For more on this, I'm joined by Secretariat member Reverend Ntlha. A very good evening to you, Reverend Ntlha. Thank you for your time. I mean, do you think it's too little too late as Bain and Company tries to do some damage control?
Yes, certainly. I think it's too little too late. We've already had the Agenda Commission coming up with damning evidence about Bain and Company, and we've had South African whistleblowers blowing the whistle on this company. Arthur Williams, for example, has been in the news for months now, and has been on the run for his life. And all of this says that there's nothing new that has come up from what we're being told that this company is saying in their public communication. So I think that's a little too late, yes, and we obviously would expect our government to have led the way in doing what the British have done. I think that there ought to be more than simply an apology offered by the leadership, the CEO of Bain, that there should be more punitive measures placed on this company.
Well, what's your take of the UK government's assertions around Bain and Company?
Well, basically, I think that they've taken the moral leadership with regard to banning Bain and Company from doing business with the government, and that's why I think at the very least South Africa should be able to do that. They have demonstrated a moral stance. The state capture was always a moral outrage. We've lived with the state capture for years, and over the last several years, the Zondo Commission has treated every South African to a daily dose of the atrocities that are perpetrated against the people of South Africa by corruption. And so what the British have done has been to demonstrate that in a civilized environment, you want to signal that there is no place for business to be done in the way that Bain have done. I think even them, one can still raise the issue of, is that all that they can do with regard to simply saying they are naughty, they shouldn't do it again, or should more be expected? We can't, obviously, that's not our jurisdiction, but with regard to South Africa, we really would expect harsher treatment for this company that has done so much damage to SARS, to our public institutions, and to our democracy.
And perhaps besides taking the lead from the UK government assertions, I mean, you make mention of state capture. We know that the State Capture Commission of Inquiry made several recommendations, and recommendations that would speak to the implementation of blacklisting to ban companies from using the state to make a massive profit. What do you think now needs to happen? Because on the other end, Bain and Company perhaps might argue that they've issued this latest apology and they've also paid back the monies. I mean, what sort of precedent should South Africa be setting, irrespective of what happens after you've been caught?
Yes, I think that you don't simply say pay back the money and that's all you do. And we would really like to see the CEO of Bain in orange overalls, because that's what happens when you are caught, and it isn't as if they voluntarily came forward and confessed that they had this, breach of, in terms of their conduct. but they were actually forced by circumstances, in part by the British ruling on them. So it isn't as if you have a remorseful company that is not that is changing their ways and will not do it again. I think there's a case to be made for saying, let's figure out how to make sure that this never happens again, and ought to be investigated. They should tell us who exactly collaborated with them and what is the nature of that kind of betrayal of our institutions by South Africans, so that all of them can really find their place behind bars, because that's what many South Africans are looking for. We'd like to see people doing time in prison for the things that they have done.
How significant do you think the boycotting of business dealings with the company will be, especially as the National Treasury Acting Director General has called for that move?
Yeah, I think certainly that would be everything that can be done to dissuade companies like Bain from doing what they have done should be done. They're blacklisting them and making sure that nobody does business with them in our public institution, our government, and so on. I think that is a very significant deterrent for companies of similar sort. But I think we want to, because of the nature of the peril that South Africa has been placed in, state capture is not a small crime. It is a hijacking of our whole our public institution, our government, our democracy, and repurposing it to serve interests that are inimical to South African people, and that is treason. And so you don't want simply to say, okay, pay back the money and don't do it again. We'd like to see suitable penalties being deployed against such behaviors.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time, Reverend Ntlha from Defend Our Democracy. Also, just weighing in on the Bain and Company's banning matter, and of course, and also just calling for the South African government to do more. Let's